I'm gonna be real. Um, I have a confession to make. I've had a weird, hard month, right? Become addicted. You know, uh, yeah, I'm a plant dad now. So it started with an onion, and then two pea plants, and now I have purchased dwarf dragon fruit seeds, and they're gonna grow about at least 5 feet long. So yeah, I think I might have a problem now. So, with that in mind, I'll use my biology degree to talk a lot. All right. So, since I do like cactus quite a bit, so we start with an embryo. So, an embryo obviously in human terms, that's a very specific. That means in biological organism, right? So what happens is the two union cells, a sperm and an egg, come together and form a zygote. That zygote is a loose collection of cells, right? And they're all the same cell, right? And then they start multiplying, going through mitosis. Because, to get a zygote, you go through meiosis, which is sexual, and then you go through mitosis for whatever it needs to do, right? Once you have that, mitosis going on, you get into things called gastrulation, and then the cells differentiate and form, and you have an embryo, which then becomes a fetus, right? So that's how it works in animals, right? So what happens for a seed, right, is when a plant produces a seed, right? So why don't we backtrack just a bit, right, to what a seed is? So when animals went onto land, they had to develop ways to retain water, and then retain their young, right? Retain their spawn rates. Well, when that happened, animals frogs, amphibians spec into things like staying near water. Then other animals spec into not needing water as much. Then you have mammals, which spec into placental, which is us, marsupial, which is kangaroos and possums, and then you have things like I think it's called monotreme, which is platypi and echidna. Those are the ones that lay eggs. Eggs being their own adaptation towards having making sure that kind of life stays alive on land, right? So that's how they did it, right? So plants followed a similar one. You have mosses. I think they're also called. That's the technical term, but it's just another classification that falls under bryophytes. Then at some point you had ferns. I don't know which one that is. It could be uh, Tyophyte, I think it is, with a silent P. Or it could be, it starts with an L, I don't remember. Again, it's more of a new thing being plants. God, I love that coconut Americano. Alright, so then you had things like trees and that started growing, right? Things that used seeds, because ferns used spores that were dispersed by winds, and now we have also seeds too that are dispersed by winds. Illinois has a bunch of that shit, right? So then you have seeds, which are an enclosed embryo of a plant. It's all the genetic information so that when it's planted and germinated, it can grow the plant, right? Now they come in a variety of different ways. They come enclosed in like a little wind carrying thing. I don't know what they're called, right? They come enclosed in a pine cone, and that's what I don't know where the wind carried ones. Probably, I imagine gymnosperm. I imagine, but I don't quote me on that. Again, I know a lot. I don't know everything. This is an introductory degree essentially. I got an associate's so far, and then you have angiosperms. Angio, I believe it refers to the type of plant, obviously a fruiting body, right? So you have angiosperms, which are fruiting plants. Now, fruiting plants come in, as we all know, have a particular thing that encloses the seed. The fruit, that little nice, sweet, juicy mess, right? So this is meant in some cases to entice the animal to eat the fruit, so that when the seed goes through, because mammals can't really process seeds. I don't know about birds personally, as seeds are their main diet. But for us, mammals, right? We eat the seed, and it goes through our digestive system. It's not strong enough to break it down, so it gets crapped out, and now the seed has a convenient little package to just end up in. because seeds love crap, right? So since this, little, seed, if you were actually, keep a seed in sterile conditions for like, for like very sterile, mind you, very, very sterile, where no bacteria could get in, you could actually make it survive indefinitely and still grow the plant. I think plants are amazing sometimes. Also, I've been told about a new theory, right? That cancer has to do with the mitochondria and an overproduction of the mitochondria. Plants can get cancer. That's interesting if you didn't know. Because think about it also, they're in the sun all day. They couldn't get it, from the UV radiation. Or, how they absolutely need UV. Or they don't need, I grow my plants, they're growing like hell without them. Um, but yeah, the UV radiation is almost essential to that. Or like how plants, if they have a chromosome disorder or they got an extra chromosome, guess what? Now you've got a new plant essentially. That's an oversimplification of the matter, but yeah, they are highly, adaptive towards, stuff like that. Now, why don't we go into what my favorite kind of I love to talk about? It's a cactus. See, cacti, right, are a particular type of plant called a succulent. Now, I would love to go into jump right into cactus, but now I really want to talk about different types of plants. I know you want to hear about cactus. I know you come to my talks for cacti. I know, but I want to talk about other things. So, certain types of plants have different adaptations, right? You know, we talked about fruiting plants. But like some plants that we call vegetables, right? They're actually fruiting plants. We just cut them down before they're able to do that because the fruit or other parts of the plant are toxic to us. And so things like a celery, the fruit of a celery plant is toxic to us, right? So we cut it down at the stalk before it grows that high so we can eat it, right? Or you have potatoes. Those are actually the roots of the vegetable of the plant, right? And so you have the eyes, those little dots that come out. Well, if you have those, what you do is if you leave it out too long or it's going bad soon, it'll actually expel roots and then grow upwards. It's so cool to watch. And my phone is blowing up. I hate it. Right? Now, when you have that, you have carrots are about the same thing. It's actually what's called a taproot system, where the big root and then all the stuff that comes out of it. I know, so amazing biology. Or onions, that little bulb thing you pull out of the ground. Or I don't think you pull that one out of the ground, but like you get the point. Or celery, as I mentioned. Like all these vegetables are so cool to learn about, right? So then you have other adaptations towards climate. So now we're getting towards the cactus. The adaptations of climate are very, specific, right? So cacti, for the most part, succulents, the succulents that live in dry environments, like arid, Southwest America, are different from the one that live in tropical. Obviously, they don't like too much water, as succulents are all apt to be, right? But obviously, it'd be different in a more moist place, like a tropic zone where like the dragon fruit comes from, right? So on a cacti, it has very particular adaptations. So those spines that really hurt? Those are actually its leaves, right? Those are actually the leaves of the plant. So why? Now you might be asking, like, why are those the leaves and why are they like that? Well, I've got the answer. Of course I do. Why would I bring it up? So I know. So what happens is, so the leaves have I think it's called stoma. It's a little pore on the surface of the leaf that lets in and out gas exchange, right? What also can come out though is water. Well, in an arid, very dry and very hot environment, water loss you don't really want that. So certain animals and plants in that area will do literally anything to retain water and keep cool, right? So the cacti, what they do is they made their leaves much smaller and much more pointy, right? So that they are able to, um, you know, reduce water loss. Now they've also made the stem of the plant much more. It retains all the water the plant needs. Then you have this, again, the leaves. They're rather pointy, right? They protect the fruit of the plant, which this just goes to show how much I know about plants. And plants sometimes is, well, don't the animals really want to eat? Shouldn't the plants want the animals to eat the fruit so that you get their seed spread? I have no idea. That's for you to do if you want to look up more about this, right? So then you need, so to get at a cactus's fruit, which is usually on the top, I believe a lot of them might have them on the top. Things like the dragon fruit have it all down the sides and from the shoots and stuff like that. At least the one I am getting well, right? And so because of that, you need a very tough or tall animal to do so. Now, other creatures in the region will then go out at night to keep cool. Things like, I think, desert hares will have very big ears because apparently that the dynamic of that with the blood circulation and all that cools their head down. Pretty interesting, right? Plus, of course, very cold in the desert at night. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. All right. So now we've gotten to all these little fun cacti facts, right? And I hope you've learned a lot. And maybe you're interested in either growing cactus. Also, just make sure you find stuff like that out. They can grow very big. A regular dragon fruit plant can grow up to 20 feet. And I live in Illinois, and you can't grow those bitches here. At least not like without a greenhouse. So yeah. So I hope you had fun with this, and maybe you decided to check out stuff. Now, one quick moment. I know that maybe in the last video I said something about the folklore fun, and I'm going to be real. I have no idea what to do with that. I would love to talk about more folklore. Maybe I'll talk about myths sometime. So if I don't hear anything back from you guys, the viewers, I know there are lots of you. Choose between the black dog and Baba Yaga. That'd be fun. See which one you guys want to hear about. All right, have a good one.